the myth, the maverick, the legend that is Rob Yates. Now,
Good afternoon.
Business coach extraordinaire? Who are you, Rob?
I'm just a dude that lives on top of a mountain in Africa and helps people build themselves and build businesses, and mostly do it in God's name.
Okay. And you have worked with some, and we don't have to get into this, and NDAs and all that, but you have worked with some quite significant people out there, haven't you?
I've worked with a full spectrum of individuals across the world, ranging from elite level athletes who might happen to have medals around their necks, all the way through to people in charge of some of the world's biggest businesses, to celebrities, to some dude called Fred who wants to run a small business, and everybody in between. Because it's an adventure, and why not?
And why not? Okay, so do you think there are parallels between growing a business, being successful in business, and living a healthy lifestyle?
I think everything in life is very binary, and we don't like that as human beings, right? I think almost everything is pretty black and white. And as human beings, we're trying to outsmart the universe, outsmart God, think we're cleverer than we actually are, and we're busy trying to go and pretend that there's a grey area for us to work in where we can be more successful and happier. And that could be the grey area of 1 Mars bar won't matter. It won't make a difference. Could be in that grey area. It could be in the grey area of if I skip a training session for an athlete, or if I party hard at night, the coach will never know. It could be in business, a whole number of similar things. But in reality, it's all very binary. It is what it is, and the faster we all accept that there is this and this, and that's what it is. Stop trying to fight it. Just go join it. Happiness increases, success, anything increases, love increases, everything increases. And let's be honest about it, nothing ever really increases if we fight.
True. Very true. Okay, so when I work with people, I talk about the 5 pillars of health. Nutrition, hydration, sleep, movement, and mind. And I find that if you, and if anyone watching this wants to write those down, nutrition, hydration, sleep, mind, and movement, that if you neglect any of those, it's very hard. Is that because to succeed? And is that because when you neglect your own needs or things that have to be done, is that the binary choice? You do it or you don't. Then it's really hard to achieve your goals.
I think the problem is that any one of those 5 done in abundance, all on their own, will lead to a ripple effect of negativity somewhere else. So, for instance, if you were just to say, all I'm going to do is sleep. Well, if you sleep 24 hours a day, you pretty much give up with life at that point in time, right? It's you've done too much sleeping, and there's not enough time to work, exercise, love, have meaningful relationships with people, so on and so forth. So I think what happens is we've got a cup, and I think your 5 pillars fill up the cup. And I think we're going to fill this cup regardless. So if we choose to neglect sleep and hydration as 2 of your pillars, if we choose to neglect that, we're still going to fill the cup. So then we fill it, because you mentioned nutrition, right? Well, even too much nutritious food will still make you fat.
Yeah.
Right? It's just too much. So we're still going to fill up the cup, but now it's full and it's out of balance because it's only got 3 of the 5 filling it in thirds as opposed to the fifths. And so I think that is how it goes back to being binary, is that everything is all or nothing. And that's kind of fine. when we actually learn to accept it. But I don't think the human condition is very accepting of ultimatums.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, we got people asking questions in here.
How's that up? BPC157, any good?
No idea.
Not,
BPC 157, is that a blood pressure or no idea what that is?
yeah. Could you give us a bit more reference?
Redor, you're going to have to go and explain a bit more to us if you
Yeah,
want an
give us a
answer
bit
to
more
that question, I'm
information.
afraid.
Yeah. But Zara, we are well. Thank you. Okay, so do we treat the 5 pillars of health as separate but a whole? Because I think that it's an oversimplification of life. But if you were eating not too much, not too late at night, not too much sugar, healthy, colourful, tasty, nutritious food. Hydration, not too much, not too little, the right amount, about 2 litres of water a day. Depending on how busy and active and how hot a country you live in, but ballpark figure 2 to 3 litres of water a day. Maybe try and add some sodium, a sprinkle of pink salt, or a hydration, like a electrolyte thing into the water to keep your sodium levels good. Sleeping, don't sit scrolling till midnight. It doesn't have to be in bed by 8 p.m, but it can be not wasting the time at the end of the day thinking it's yours to hang about with, not being the child that's rebelling and staying up late, but just doing what you need to do is get enough sleep by getting to bed. Move when you can. You might be a wheelchair user, you might be in a sedentary job, but move in whatever context that means in your life as much as you can. And then mind, if your mind is not very nice to you, maybe it's time to look at that and do some work on it. So it's a broad brush, but they are what I'm calling 5 pillars of health. If you address each of them, life gets better.
I think you could underpin some of that, though. I mean, maybe there's a 6th pillar, but your significant relationships tend to play a part in all of this as well, in the health, right? Because there's the, my wife and I are on a whole dieting regime at this point in time, and she's just made me this sort of grilled chicken and sweet potato fries and small salad for my lunch. And Edward, I'm really busy. If she was just making lunch, but it wasn't on the sort of eating regime that we're on at this point in time, it would maybe be toasted sandwiches and Walker's crisps or chips or whatever you want to call it. It would have been a very different lunch. And so the relationships we have about us tend to dictate the environment, and that tends to be maybe the bubble around all of this.
Yes.
You need the support of your loved ones in order to go and achieve what you want to achieve in life. I mean, I look at my business and how I work in my business. There's no way I could achieve what I achieve every year if it wasn't for my wife picking up the debris around me that I leave in the family or whatever else.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit more to it than that, but I do think that those basic, like, functional, eat the right stuff, drink the right stuff, sleep at the right time, look after yourself, move if at all possible, or as much as possible. I think those cover a majority of sins.
Yeah.
And I reckon people watching this, if you are watching this, there's probably one of those that that you're not doing enough of.
Yeah.
That's out of balance. And
at least one.
At least one. And you probably already know what it is. And you're probably trying to find a way around it because you don't want to tackle it and don't want to do it. Probably.
Yeah.
Certainly, like, if you're interested in health and weight loss and whatever else, and you're interested in focusing on that, I'm mostly a business guy with an elite sports background. But most businesses I look in, you go, what's the problem? It's the thing the dude least wants or the lady least wants to do, right? So maybe you can self-audit this now for yourself watching this. Like, what is it that's missing for you?
Can I offer a suggestion to people watching? Write down nutrition, hydration, sleep, movement, and mind. And on a scale of 1 to 10 on I am eating immaculately would be 10. I just microwave or buy takeaway all the time would be a 1. Give yourself a score out of 10 on how well you're managing your nutrition. And then hydration, are you getting hydration in or do you completely forget to drink all day most days? Sleep, are you getting 4 hours of broken sleep or closer to 7 or 8 hours a night? Are you sitting up scrolling till midnight? Give yourself a score out of 10. Movement, how many steps a day? Or are you moving a lot? Or are you quite sedentary? Give yourself a score. Mind, are you your worst enemy or are you your best friend? Give yourself a score out of 10 for each of those and then add them up. You'll get an overall score. You could then tackle any of them and improve them slightly, probably without too much complicated thought. And because that score goes up, the overall score goes up. The closer you get to 50 out of 50 on them, the better your life will be. I can guarantee you that. And to answer Redo, if you're still here, peptide, don't get involved with peptides. I'm not telling you not to. I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't either. No, it's be out of my play space. And there's things you can do that can help you more or less, right? You mentioned move. So at the moment, I've just bought a rowing machine. It's just in my new other half of the office that's over there. That is the gym and the gym. I bought a rowing machine. There's understanding some of the impacts that time has on your life. So, rowing for half an hour at 6 o'clock in this morning, and I rowed. I've been rowing this for about 10 days now, at a pace where you can still breathe through your nose and you don't need to breathe through your mouth, right? Where you can still talk and have a phone call if you wanted to. The impact of that first thing in the morning before you've eaten anything is very, very different. And I'm not going to say right or wrong, but it's very different to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or like after your first meal, or 9 o'clock in the evening. It's very, very different. And so I think it's starting to understand about the time and place for doing things, as opposed to just, because you could have 8 hours, people want to find this gray area. This is why I go back to the binary, Edward. I get 8 hours in a day. I'm like, fantastic. They say, I'm awake for 2 hours, then I sleep for an hour. I'm awake for 2 hours, then I sleep for an hour. And I'm like, that's not what we mean. That's trying to force the issue for your convenience. Tell me, Edward, with regards to your health and losing weight, and most of us could do with, well, certainly me anyway, losing a few kilograms or a few pounds. Where do we start with this?
Okay.
Because it's quite a big, even with your 5 pillars, which chunk it down, it's quite a wide, where best to start?
Okay. What I recommend to the people that I support is don't eat too early, don't eat too late, don't eat too much, don't eat too much sugar. Simple as that. So what that looks like in your life compared to Mavis, who lives on the 10th floor of a high-rise, has 2 hip replacements and takes 50 pills every morning. She has a different life from you. So there's not this many calories at this time because your life is different. But as principles, as a basic framework from which we can amend into the context of your life, if you can hold off consuming any calories first thing in the morning, if you can hold off consuming any calories a couple of hours or a few hours before bed, if you can honestly look at a plate of food and say, that's definitely a sensible portion for someone trying to lose weight, and if you can try your best to avoid eating too much sugar, even though it can be fruit, don't eat too much fruit either, because the body cannot burn fat while there's sugar in it. It breaks the sugar down first. Too much sugar, no matter where it comes from, will stop you burning fat, therefore stop you losing weight. Because what we mean when we say lose weight, chop off a leg, you'll lose weight. We mean lose fat. And this actually ties into your rowing in the morning thing. Imagine you ate your evening meal at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and didn't have any calories afterwards. Your body uses those consumed calories and any sugar that you've had through carbohydrates or sugar, and breaks them down and uses up that fuel source of calories, and at some point runs out of consumed calories. To keep alive, you still need calories, so it uses the spare supply, your fat cells, because fat is The extra energy that you brought in that you didn't need in the past, you brought in too much, your body's kept it for a rainy day. It's created a cell, it's put some energy in it and a little bit of fluid. That's your fat. So you've done that for a long time. You've built more and more fat, spare energy supplies on your body. So by finishing early in the evening and not having any other calories afterwards, your body's run through the consumed calories and at some point needs a different fuel source because there's no more consumed calories left. It switches to running on breaking open fat cells and releasing the energy as the energy source, and you burn fat all night. You get up in the morning, and if you gently row like Rob in the morning, you are not powering that rowing with consumed calories. There hasn't been any in your body available for 10 hours or so. So every calorie that you burn before you consume any calories are being burned straight from the fat supply. Therefore, you speed up the weight loss process. The number one sin, I was going to say, the number one issue that people have with losing or not losing or even gaining weight is you're meant to consume by day and undo by night, and that is nature's intention. We consume by day and then put a blocker in our body about 9 or 8 o'clock at night, sugar. So instead of our body consuming by day and undoing by night, we consume by day, put our blocker in of some sugar in the evening time, and our body spends the night not undoing, but just trying to break down that sugar. That's why the pizza on the way home from a night out, 10 pints, tons of sugar, and then the pizza on the way home, the body never gets round to addressing the pizza because it's spending all night up until your recovery breakfast trying to break down that sugar. So that's why it goes straight on the hips.
And so this can be as simple as cutting out the biscuits or cookies that you traditionally have at 9 p.m. or
Yes.
the sugar in the cup of tea you have before bed, or the soft drink, or whatever it may well be.
Yeah.
I think that's the nice thing, is it doesn't have to be hard. I tell you, Edward, the other thing that I've noticed is, for people out there, there's plenty of different dieting options out there. Well, let's just be honest about it, right? So you've got,
of course,
you've got keto, and you've got fasting, and you've got low GI, the low GI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all of these things. The one thing, and all of them actually have worked for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It doesn't matter what it is you choose. It's all work for somebody else. The thing that really strikes me is, like, pick your horse and ride it.
Yeah.
because maybe, at the moment, for instance, I'm eating 5 meals a day, and but I'm still only eating 2,000 calories. So for a guy of my size, and I'm over 6'3", and I'm pretty big, 2,000 calories isn't very much, but I want to slim down at the moment. But I'm eating 5 meals a day. So it is possible to eat 5 meals a day under 2,000 calories. That's an interesting observation for many people. And the plate of food I've just had at lunchtime was almost more than I could eat. It's ginormous. So there's a thing. You don't have to go hungry. But my thing is, like, commit to the thing you're going to do.
Yes.
If we say we're going to finish eating at 7 p.m. and we're not going to have any more calories through till sometime tomorrow morning that feels comfortable to us, or maybe just be on the other side of comfort, whatever that is, then let's commit to it, and let's say it's going to be 7 p.m. and then 10 a.m., for instance. And I'm not going to tell anybody what their time frame should ever be, but let's commit to it. If you want to do, I had spinach and eggs. Scrambled eggs, at 7 o'clock this morning after I finished rowing for half an hour, but I'm committing to it and sticking to it. I think the problem we have, or the challenge we have to overcome, is this doing something for a bit and then changing onto something else, and then changing onto something else, and then we jump all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if we just commit?
Well, what I would say is that while we hold diet in our mind as a concept, that will keep happening. Because what I've witnessed, and I've helped, I think, about 1,500 people in the last sort of just under 2 years, you're living life as normal, whatever that means, normal. And then you get to a point where you think, I want to be slimmer, my clothes don't fit, I feel uncomfortable in public, whatever it might be, I want to change something. So you do something different, the new routine, the new diet, and the weight comes off. But like any race, when you cross the finish line, you take your foot off the gas. So you then say, great, I'm at my target. I've done that thing to achieve that thing. And inevitably, you go back to the only place you've got left to go to, which is normal. And normal is the thing that takes you to where you have to lose weight. And so the women, or men and women, but mostly women I work with, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of go on a diet, lose the weight, back to normal, gain the weight, go on a diet, lose the weight, round and round and round and round. But for me, what I try and help people with is to incrementally, layer by layer, introduce things into your life, get the reward of those things, and come to accept that that can be something that's part of your life forevermore, because it makes your bowels behave better. You're not bloated after a meal or sleepy after a meal. You sleep better. You wake up refreshed. You have more energy throughout the day. All of life feels better when we consistently make better choices. That's not till the weight is off. That's just kind of the rules of life.
It's very, very... Yes, it is so interesting. There's something that jumped out to me, though, as you were speaking, and that is, if weight loss is the goal, weight gain will be the consequence of the goal. And so weight loss in and of itself isn't enough of a goal in order to lose weight and let's say lose weight and stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate goal, is to get back to a weight of some sort that you feel, where you feel happy in your own skin, and then when you feel happy in your own skin, to stay there. And it is really interesting. So I was obsessive with CrossFit, Edward, as you know, for a very long period of time. Then I became a dad, and all that stuff went out the window. No sleep and screaming children and so on and so forth. And I'm back now, and I've dropped down 10 kilos so far since this year, and now introducing the exercise. And actually, I'm looking to put some weight on now, just in a different way, in muscle as opposed to in lard. But I go and think about what the goal is, right? I can't run my business in where it's going to in the future with the size and shape that I was. It's just not, I wouldn't be able to physically sustain it. I can't be almost 50 and the dad of a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old and sustain the size that I was. So me getting in better shape or healthier, the goal isn't really about the size of the pants that I wear or how many kilos or how many body fat or pounds. It's actually about that other stuff. And that other stuff, the being a dad, the having the business, the whatever else, that is a consistent norm in my world for as far into the future as I can see. Therefore, the goal is actually about doing life really well going forwards, as opposed to being limited by carrying probably 10 kilograms of fat around too much.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference that makes the difference for people.
Yes, absolutely. One is the size and health they deserve to be in accordance with their choices. Now, thyroid, menopause, mobility issues, 5 children, stressful job, we all have stuff. Things that in the absence of those things, life would be easier. Consistently making good food choices, batch cooking all Sundays. Of course, life is not simple, but we are more or less, and that's just about personal responsibility. We are more or less the size and health that we deserve to be in accordance with our choices. Therefore, if we can learn to make better choices, all of life is transformed. So the improved sleep to lose weight, but the improved sleep, other bodily repairs that go on while you're sleeping. Brighter mood the next day, so nicer interactions. Being able to resist temptation. Being able to play with the kids when they finish school. So it's sleep to lose weight. No, it's sleep to be the person who is happier, more confident, more involved with their children, you know, all the things that you want to be as a human being, and that amazing future self has a that amazing future self has a lifestyle. That's why they are slimmer, fitter, more confident, have more energy, blah, 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 blah. So it's really about decoding or working out what lifestyle are they living and how do I live that lifestyle to become that person. So if you, Rob, if you eat 2,000 calories a day and you maintain your exercise of where you are, you'll end up at a certain size. And you'll find maintenance in both calories and lifestyle for someone that size. If you took off 500 calories from that, or upped your exercise by an hour a day, you would then adjust to be that person size-wise, strength-wise, shape-wise. So you have to live the life of someone who is the thing you want to be. And then you'll become, your body will just change to become it.
But that's interesting, right? Because I mean, the people on here, you can all comment. Please write and let us know what your comments are. I can't actually see any comments at the moment, but if you if you there's two elements here. So firstly, you've got to be able to look into your future and go, who's the version of me I want to become, need to become, what's the life I want, right? And you've got to be pretty exact about that. So like, I just want to be richer. Well, fantastic. Here's £5. You're richer. Good job, you. Off we go, right? So if you want to be slimmer, well, fantastic. Then just miss dinner tonight. Wake up tomorrow morning, and you'll be slimmer by a couple of millimeters around your waist. Good job. Well done, you. Like, what is it? What is this future that you really, really want for yourself? But I actually think that there's a second part to it, and part of that is you've got to believe that you deserve to have that future, and that you are the person who can have that future. Because belief is everything. What you believe to be true, you will have as a certainty. What you believe to be false, you will have as a certainty. If you think everybody's a narcissist who hates you, you're going to wander around, and I guarantee you'll run into narcissists who hate you in abundance. They'll be everywhere, right? If you think everybody is generous, this isn't naivety, by the way. If you think everybody's generous, you're going to find a lot more generous people on planet Earth. Sure, not everybody, but you'll find a lot more of them. And so, are you willing to believe that you should be, actually, that you deserve to be a healthier version of how you are today? Are you willing to believe that that could be a truth for you? But the only thing that makes belief true is the actions that you take. So if you believe it, the next question is, right, cool, what should we do about it? What I really like about you, Edward, is I've mentioned calories, but you've not once, right? And this is your field. And it's really, I mean, I've got a background in high level sport, but it's really not my field these days. What I really like about what you're saying is this isn't all or nothing. This isn't like you need to eat 1,200 calories a day and starve yourself in order to be healthy and lose weight. And the other thing is, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but any of those measuring things are 100% possible to win at. Like, it's guaranteed those measuring things you'll fail at on every single occurrence. Have you ever tried eating exactly 1,500 calories in a day? Like, precisely.
You can't.
It's physically impossible. But if we say somewhere between 1,450 and 1,550, or 1,400 calories and 1,600 calories, that's actually quite easy to achieve.
Yeah, that's why I give a range of calories to aim for if you are deciding to count calories. I'll tell you, run an experiment. Anyone watching this, plate up your evening meal today and look at it and say, is that a sensible portion for someone trying to lose weight? You'll either get yes if it's a small portion, no because you can't see over the top of it, or maybe, and that means I'm lying to myself so I can give myself permission to eat too much. There's all the calorie counting you need.
That's back to that black and white, the binary, right? The black and white. The maybe in the middle is you trying to cheat the world and lose.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing poker with God, but he knows what cards you got in your hands, right? There's only one thing that's going to happen. Actually, funnily enough, thinking about this, so when I was a kid, we used to go on family holidays and we had a caravan. We used to see, in the caravans, you have a benches either side, table in the middle, windows behind you, and we sit there and play cards. And I actually used to go and look at the reflection of my brother's cards as they were sat opposite me in the window behind, and I could see the cards and win. And but life's not like that, right? Life's not that. The grey really, either we are eating too much or we're eating too little or enough to lose weight with. And there's
Well,
really
are you
not
eating?
much space in the
Yeah,
middle.
are you eating too much? Is a yes, no question.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And are we drinking too much? Am I sleeping enough? Is my sleep quality good or not? So we all know the guilty secret answers to that.
Yep.
I can tell you, Edward, last night my sleep quality was appalling. Between dogs deciding they
I was going
want
to
to
say
go and
dogs or
like chase
children.
both, yeah. Dogs deciding they want to go and chase rabbits that they've seen around our property. The cat deciding that he wants to party and climb the curtains, jump on us, do whatever else. Claws in the end of your toes at 2 o'clock in the morning, and a 2-year-old. Oh, actually, he's not 2 anymore; he's 4. Anyway, him deciding that he wants a cuddle at 3 o'clock. It was appalling, and we all, I was trying to go back to sleep at 4 o'clock this morning and fighting that losing battle that we fight when you've slept just enough to wake up but not enough to be rested. We all know the honest truth behind that.
Yeah.
And so we just, like, what happens if we're just honest about it and do something about it? I mean, even if, Edward, what would happen if we just ignored the food for the time being, the nutrition part, and we just said, actually, I'm gonna eat no more than I would normally eat, but no less. And I'm going to drink 2 liters of water a day, move twice as much as I'd normally move, and make sure that I organize my world to get 7 or 8 quality hours sleep. I mean, would that help us step in the right direction?
£20 in a month.
Off 10 kilograms.
Yeah.
And we've just eaten what we normally eat. So no more,
Yeah.
no less, but we sort out the rest.
And not joining a running club, not like 100,000 steps a day, not, just move more. Don't sit and scroll. Instead, go to bed. Take a bottle of water with you wherever you're off to for the day, if it's work, or try not to get caught up in the crap of life. Try and stay cool as best you can. That would do it.
So all this, there's like a myth out there that it's all about what you eat. That's the interesting thing, and it's like it is, but it isn't, right?
Yeah, it's a false truth, because ultimately, if you've stayed the same weight for 3 months, you are eating calorie-wise maintenance. But it's all of the rest of life that is influencing that. So, for example, you might have every day you eat 2,000 calories. But let's say there was and heaven forbid, you went through this last year, a fire on the hills and forestry nearby, and you were dealing with that all day. You probably wouldn't be thinking too much about getting your 2,000 calories in. No.
Anything in at that point in time was the only thing I could focus on. As like, if you gave me a bacon butty or a carrot, I would just take whatever food you gave me. But it's that whole it's crazy, isn't it? So you do, that's a lot of exercise, that period of time. Actually, I could eat based upon that exercise, pretty much eat what I pleased and sleep like the dead.
Yeah.
Mental health, not that great. Food, interestingly, Edward, this is really interesting. So we had the forest fires, as you rightly point out, and I'm just thinking back now. I ate a lot. I mean, we were on the go 24/7 you remember that, for several weeks, right? And we were on emergent evacuation notice to literally leave at 20 minutes notice, and cars packed, all the family documents in folders in the car ready to go, the insurance stuff. I mean, literally we could have lost everything. And didn't actually eat that badly during that time. If I actually go and chunk it apart in terms of what we actually ate, no junk food. I mean, we're in the middle of a forest fire, right? So McDonald's isn't close by. No junk food. There was pastury type meals and rice type meals. I remember there was quite a lot of fruit brought to us because it's easy to transport. It was actually, there wasn't packets of crisps. Interestingly, the food quality was very good considering the circumstances. And I think I've seen that in expeditions in the Himalayas, whitewater kayaking, where you're eating lentil curry and rice the entire time in the middle of nowhere. Like maybe actually the comfort of sitting still or working out in a gym, actually that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, certainly the devil does make work for idle hands. So
yeah, if the cookie jar or Uber Eats is within reach, you can guarantee you're going to be tempted to use it.
Yeah, give yourself half an hour on a sofa, not doing anything with your hands, watching telly. And unless you're completely absorbed in what you're watching, the brain, because you've been probably doing things most of the day, the brain says, what do I do now? What are we going to do now? And what do I do now turns into what can I eat now? Because it's a something that gives you a little sugar boost if it's a little biscuit or a cracker or a glass of wine or a bit of chocolate or a bit of ice cream or even a bit of fruit. That's entertainment. That's not fuel for your body.
It's interesting. We've only got one TV in our house. I refuse to have more. And when my wife watches something in the evening that bores me senseless, like Grey's Anatomy or something like that, or my kids put on something, I often end up stomping around the house in a not a grumpy mood, but in a like what now mood. And it's remarkable what you say. It's just how easy it is to then find yourself in the pantry or in a cupboard looking for something. Or then I come back to work and then I get called a workaholic, which is like, it's like this. This goes back to the relationship side. Or you go to sleep and, oh, you're always going to bed early. And what if everything else was boring? So I read my Bible and went to bed early. I mean, but it's remarkably interesting about that behavior when we're not purposefully stimulated or engaged. We leave open voids of time for anything to happen. And often that's
it's not helpful stuff.
It's not, yeah. And it wouldn't matter. It could be alcohol, it could be smoking, it could be food. I mean, it could be any number of things. That's very interesting.
And you know what's really interesting when you take it to the extreme? So you know that I do extended fasting, so fasting beyond 24 hours. I am unbearably productive after 36 to 48 hours into a fast. I will not sit still. I will literally do every job in the house. Then it's what DIY jobs have been sitting for the last 5 years. Then it's I wonder if the neighbours need a hand with their garden. And it's not, oh, I must distract myself or I'll think about food. Once you've accepted, I'm not eating for the next few days. All this time and energy opens up. And your body naturally wants to find productive things to do. And it's really interesting that happens.
It's interesting. I mean, food is the original sin, right?
Yeah.
It is the original sin. Like if we get and sorry if anybody here is not a Christian. Sorry, you've got a guy here runs a Christian business in front of you, so I'm not going to not talk about him. It is the original sin. It is the apple, right? Isn't it interesting that the original sin is sweet, not savory?
Isn't it? Well, think of it this way: if you've got a devil on your shoulder and an angel on the other shoulder, even if you think of that as cartoon funny and you're not a Christian or whatever, but you think of the temptation voice that says, "Have the biscuit." How often does that voice suggest things that would make your life better? So it's sugar, pornography, violence. Only, like, don't do the housework, don't cut the grass, have the day off, just pretend you're off sick, eat the sweeties, open the wine. The only things that the devil on the shoulder, the sort of comical cartoon devil on the shoulder whispering in your ear, suggests to you is things that make your life worse. Your health, your weight, your relationships, everything about you.
But that's the vicious cycle, right? Because some of those things give us the kick, right, of feeling better for just a period of time. You know, the bit of sugar that just carries you forward for an hour, and ultimately you'll crash. But it's the repetitive nature of the one drink into five, the one portion of dinner, and you go back for seconds and thirds. The whatever it doesn't really matter what it is. It doesn't matter. It just is. And it becomes a habit, a habitual cycle of always making ourselves feel good for the next few minutes to hour or few hours. It's like speed or amphetamines or cocaine or something like that, where you get this wonderful buzz, and then tomorrow, well, there is no tomorrow because you've used all tomorrow's energy today. And when we actually stop, like, you have to ask yourself, what's peace? Right? Peace isn't euphoria, and peace isn't depression. Peace is a really calm place in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're trying to kid ourselves that peace is a version of euphoria. Therefore, it has to be find the highest highs and keep them. Yeah, it has to be up.
Yeah,
and it's not a silent contentment to sit and look at the view with no need to move.
That's right.
And so maybe we need to bring peace into our world more.
Yes, I agree. We're talking about immediate gratification over delayed gratification. If I spend all my pennies, I can buy sweeties at the shop. But if I save my pennies, I can buy a house next year. And is that not toddler level of living and thinking?
I think it's a level of adult rebelliousness.
Agreed.
That some of us don't grow out of.
So, but we call it like growing up. So growing up is not following the rebel voice, but doing what is right instead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to jump into the weeds now around the education world, but I think that our childhoods have all of these structures in place around them, from the bells at school, like chiming everywhere over 40, 45 minutes, end of the lesson, on to the next one, and there's homework and there's structure and regimentedness. And I think that the moment we get the chance to not have that for a lot of us, we go the exact opposite direction.
Eat all the sweeties, stay up late at night. Yeah.
Well, just think about, like, you were brought up in Scotland. I was brought up in the south of England, and when you left school, like, just think about the years after school. Certainly for me, I mean, I hadn't found God at that point in time. I left school, and it was the eat all the sweeties like you like was drink as much beer as I liked, and party as late as I like, sleep not very much, just about pull it through work wise. Had a lot of good health on our sides in our 20s. So the impact of the world hadn't caught up on us yet, so I could still train and compete when I was competing on 2 or 3 hours sleep a day. I mean, just imagine what would happen if I'd actually slept for 8 and not drunk. I mean, that would be probably would have been the world's number one. But we end up with a period of time where we rebel, and I think some people just carry on rebelling forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And actually, it would be really interesting what would happen if throughout our childhood, through to the age of 20-ish, if we actually learn how to, as opposed to be regulated by other people, to self-regulate around the use of our time, the use of our money, the use of our energy, the use of our language, the use of our learning, the use of our health, so on, and self-regulate. If that was the education process learning how to self-regulate, I think a lot of us would be better off, because certainly money-wise for me, the moment I learned how to self-regulate in business was the moment that the cash gloves came off, right? I can make as much money as I like. It's easy because I can self-regulate. It just took me a very long time to learn that.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of people a long time to learn how to self-regulate their lifestyle.
And I don't think it's about being disciplined either. I think it's about understanding cause and effect.
Yes.
Is that it's fine. This didn't happen last night, but it would have been fine for me to have had a third or fourth whiskey last night. I just would have had to understand, and that would have been fine. But the effects that would have had, that cause would have had, would have been my sleep would have been worse, and it already wasn't great. Rowing this morning would have been horrible. I'd have felt like a dead snail. Today, my brain wouldn't have worked at work very well. And probably this evening, I'd be overly tired and overly grumpy and wouldn't be the best dad and husband possible. But it's fine to have the third and fourth whiskey as long as you're willing to accept the consequence of the effects. It's not about discipline of not. It's actually going, I'm going to live my life to the fullest. So there's a wedding I'm going to on Saturday. It's a full-on, like, seated meal, very little choice with what you eat, like free bar. I'm going to enjoy it all, but I'm probably going to fast through till the wedding on the Saturday from Friday evening. And I probably will fast on Sunday through till just after lunchtime as well, to try and, let's call it, balance the scales of the enjoyment of Saturday night versus the effects that the Saturday night can have on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think some people think, oh, well, just a little treat. If you're eating a giant Yorkie bar in your car on a Tuesday afternoon after work before you get home and make the tea, that's not a treat. That's just Tuesday. And so we just have to watch what habits and tricks we play with ourselves to allow ourselves these things a bit too much, because there are consequences.
Let's have a treat. Let's have pudding after dinner, shall we? It's a treat. Like we do it every evening of the week, but it's a treat.
Yeah.
Really? No, that's just another part of the meal you eat.
Yeah.
It's not a treat. A treat's
Absolutely.
an ad hoc. It's a spontaneous. It's a this, that.
It's a treat. Other. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Edward, if people want to reach out to you and find out, I need to wander on and go and do some other bits. But if people want to reach out to you and like learn more about weight loss, about health, nutrition, what's the best thing for them to do? Can they contact you on YouTube or?
Yeah, they can message me on YouTube or Weight Loss with Edward. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're all over the place. Twitter, X. So yeah, or you'll probably find my phone number, my WhatsApp on all of those places. So I'm always open to just getting a message, having a little chat, offering any tips, or just discussing. If you've got any ideas or any thoughts, or you want to explore them, then I always love a bit of a chat.
Fantastic. So, you can find me Rob Yates Coach on or Kingdompreneur on YouTube and everywhere else. Look at kingdom-preneur.com. Contact details are there, but I have no idea which bit of YouTube I'm on when I'm talking to you now. Is it Kingdompreneur or Rob Yates? I don't know.
Don't know. I think
don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, reach out wherever it is. It all comes back to me eventually. If I don't see it, somebody who works for me will do, and they'll say you've ignored George for 13 years, and then I'll come back and talk to George. It'll be fine.
Perfect. Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time today, Rob.
Cheers,
mate. Get together next week and have a chat, if that's okay.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Brilliant. Why not? Well, until then, keep rowing.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not it. What do we press?
To end the live?
Yeah.
I
don't have any control of this.
No, you don't want any control. I quite like that. That's good. Anyway.
I was about to swear.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. God bless. I'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.